It's John, Vintage Fisherman. I'm back with another ambassador. My favorite ambassador. I love these C4s. This is a 5601. I would use this for bass. High speed. I am going to do a complete upgrade with a dad's old tackle. Complete upgrade kit. So, let's do it. Let's take it apart. Been sitting on this one for a while. Wanted to get it done and just haven't. Been busy. Kind of saving. It's going to be a fun one to do because I've done a couple of reels here lately that have not been fun. I've definitely tried my patience, and this one will probably be nothing to it. Left hand reels, remember left hand threads. Okay, then you got to take your E-clip off. Just put your fingers over it and hope you don't stab yourself, but don't lose that little booger. When I move this desk to move here in a couple weeks, finish my move, I guarantee there's 20 of them things underneath here that I can't see. So, yeah, just saying, it's they go flying. Don't feel bad if you lose one. Just make sure if you're going to do these reels that you keep some extras on hand. I've got extras all over here. I just grab one out and keep going. I don't get too excited about it. These reels, I've done so many of them. I'm a huge fan of Ambassadors. This reel's a beautiful shape. It's a C4, so it's a 4-bearing reel. We'll take the spool apart. This reel has not been used. I can't remember if I bought this one at auction or where I got this reel from, but I can tell you right now, it has barely been used. When you take the bearing out of the drive side of the spool, it's going to have a brass shim in it. Now, these bearings will get upgraded. I've got some ABEC. I want to say there's 7s going in it. We'll replace those. There's nothing wrong with those bearings. I'll go ahead and put some oil in them, and we'll keep them for another reel another time. Maybe something's going to go in the salt water, and I've good bearings in it. We'll take this part of the reel apart in a minute. Take your palm plate off, which in this case, because of lefty, will be on the right. One of the things I really like about the C4s, completely unnecessary for freshwater fishing unless you're going after cats, is it has a bait clicker on the 5600 size. Your C3s do not. The only saltwater I might possibly use this reel for would maybe be drum. And drum are normally cast and retrieve. Sometimes we'll put a drum rig out, fish finder rig. That's more in the surf. Back in the sound where you would have this reel on you if you're wade fishing or fishing from a boat or kayak, you would be doing popping corks and stuff like that. So this comes off. You got 2 little spacers. Don't lose them. And this is your bait clicker. Okay. This guy here, I'm going to be replacing it. So the only way to get that one off of there, it doesn't have the 2 little ears. You got to actually cut that little. Don't cut your fingers, folks. Use a good sharp knife, but don't cut your fingers. So you'll cut that little edge all the way around. See how I'm doing that? Hope that's in the frame good. You'll eventually get it to where that little It's almost like a little spacer will come off of there. You can cut them right there. I got it mostly cut. Blade came loose. All right, I got it cut, and that will just pull right off. You see how it looks like a little piece of a spacer, and you cut it off. That piece can be put back on. You take an E-clip and put it on right there. So you don't really lose anything by cutting that gear off. Let's take, now this will all be upgraded also. Slide this over. I got the new shaft with the bearings. This has got a bearing on one side. The new one's got bearings on both sides. So it's going to go from a C4 to like a C6. That makes any sense to you. I did not order the ceramic level line dog, but I might. I put one on my all this is going to be replaced, and this one has a bearing in it. I push those out because I don't like them to get in the ultrasonics, and we'll keep that bearing for future reels. That'd be good. That one it takes a beating on these reels. So there's the frame. It's ready to be cleaned. I'll clean these parts up, but I won't be reusing anything but this, and I think maybe that, and this. This and this gets replaced. Okay. All right, let's go to this side of the reel. Take the spool adjuster off, tension adjuster. You've got one shim, maybe two under here. It was one. Okay. This little plastic piece, just take it and slide it to one side, and it'll pop right off. That way you don't break it. Don't just get a hold of it and yank, folks. That's not the way you take that off of there. And then we're going to take the two brake plate screws off. Love these reels. You know I'm an Ambassador fan. Well built. All right, all that pulls off. On this side of the reel, which would be up underneath your handle, you got two concave. You got a concave and convex washer, and they face each other. Then your anti-reverse bearing is up in there. We'll leave that alone. We don't need to mess with that. So you're done with that. You got a spacer. Goes on. This is it's a sleeve. The D part of the sleeve goes down. Around the open part goes up. That's the way they come from the factory. Go ahead and pull this guy off of here. Underneath that, you got a shim. Sometimes you get these reels and this post is loose. And watch out for that. If that's loose, this reel's never going to operate properly. There is a fix for it. I've got a drag upgrade for this reel also. So it goes, we're going to lay it out here. If you've watched one of my Ambassador videos, you've seen them all. I go through and I put everything in order. You got, let's just go from the inside of the gear. You got a fiber washer, keyed washer, fiber washer, eared washer, fiber washer, and then press plate. Okay. And then between the gear and the cog of the handle shaft, you've also got a fiber washer. And then your handle shaft. Over here, spring plate comes off. Lift it straight off of there. That's all you got to do that on this model. And then your yoke. And I don't even take these apart. You don't have to, but I'll show you. First, that one's the top piece, and then this will be the bottom piece. Like that. And that's the whole reel. You can snap the pinion out of the yoke. Be careful not to break it. And that's it. I'll clean it up. We'll install this kit when I come back. Hello, it's John. I'm back. Putting together this old C4 here. Well, it's not real old. It's from 2009, I do believe. 01/15/2009, revision 5. And I'm doing an upgrade to it. It's getting Carbotex drag from Dad's old tackle. And it's getting the tune-up and upgrade kit. So we're going to open all that stuff up. I'm going to try to open this stuff up. Been a hot one here in Virginia today. I think it hit 90. I work in an air conditioned area, so it's good to be in the house where it's cool. Here are the spool bearings. Put those right there. And we'll take the old ones, put them in my box, save them for another reel. Here is the level line haul, dog, whatever you want to call it. We'll put that right there and take this one out, save it for another reel. Here is the level line worm and tube, and it has 2 bearings in it. So we're going to use that one, and we're going to take these 2 parts here and save them for another reel. And then here is the cog gear, which has a bearing in it. So we've turned this into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bearing reel. And this bearing will also be saved for another reel. All right, and we'll save that old cog gear. It's still usable. You have to cut that little lip off of it, you know. But let's put a reel together. Let's just go ahead and do the drive side. Start out with putting the washer shim on there. And I've already sprayed the brake plate down with Ballistol. I like this because it keeps it from, it impregnates the metal, believe it or not. And it keeps the metal from rusting. And it dries to like a gel. It doesn't stay runny. It's runny right now, but by the time I get done with this reel, it won't be runny anymore. And it'll do its job very effectively. Next is you put the yoke together. A little bit of grease in there. Put some grease on the pinion. I've got to mess with this brand new tub of grease. It's It just makes a mess. Brush. Put that. Oh, let's put a little bit of grease on those ramps on the jack plate. Just a little bit. Go ahead and put that in. And then the springs, the spring plate, I just give it just a little bit of grease right there where it contacts. And then I got to remember exactly how it goes. I believe it's just like that. Okay. Now you get the shaft here. That didn't sound right. You put the handle shaft on. Let's rephrase here what we're saying. It goes on like that. Put a little bit of oil on that. Now I'm replacing drags. The new drag, it had the small washer. It goes to a bigger washer. That will go on first. Okay. And then the gear. We'll go ahead and put some grease on that. All right. Now your drag, you know what? I swear, sometimes I wonder about myself. I always, out of habit, put cow's drag grease on. I did not do it. So we're going to start over again on the drag. Because, I've only built like 300 of these reels. And, I'm just having one of those moments, I guess. Let's do this right. A little bit of cows. Just work it in on the gear. Like that. You don't want it like caked on there. Just enough to make it slick. Cows does not cause you to have less drag. It has nothing to do with it. Nothing. We put fiber washer in, then a keyed washer, and a fiber washer. Then an eared washer, then a fiber washer, then the press plate. Then these washers will get put up. I don't know why, but I always put them up. And then your sleeve that goes up into the anti-reverse bearing, it goes the D size or the key side down. So it's round on one side, keyed on the other. They come from the factory with it down like that. And then we'll put these two concave convex washers in last. Okay. We'll put just a little dab of grease where those two screws go in. I don't grease the anti-reverse bearing. I put a little bit of oil in it. Grease slows that bearing down. Okay. And then we'll put the two screws in. If you maintain your reel, you don't need to put grease in that. You use oil. And my reels are pampered, you know that. I plan on using this reel, but not a lot. Kind of falls into that heavier, or say medium to heavy freshwater, light saltwater, and that's just an area of fishing I don't do a lot. Okay, next is cap. Dump all the oil out of there. Put dab of that of the fast oil in there, and then shim that. We're going to go ahead and put the shaft in. Put a little bit of oil on that shaft. Okay, and it goes in. Now this goes on, you would think it goes on like this, but it does not. It goes on like this. And it just snaps in place. And what does that do? It holds the shaft in there. So when you take the reel apart, the shaft comes out with the cover, and you can change spools. You can carry extra spools of these reels and change out your line size. Or if you get spooled by a fish, you can change out the spool without stopping fishing. You know, it's a nice feature. Now we're going to put concave convex washers in. They go opposing each other. Makes like a spring, okay? And then we're going to put the drag on, the star. Remember, this is a left-hand reel, so it's going to spin in reverse. Okay? Then you got your handle washer, and the handle washer goes in with the ears down towards the star. For a long time, I put those on wrong, to be honest with you. I just didn't realize I was doing it wrong. Didn't pay attention when I took them apart, that kind of thing. So then we can go ahead and put the E-clip on. Don't lose it. If you're not somebody who builds these a lot and you don't have spares, you're going to hate yourself if you let it go flying, because you're going to pay a lot of money for one damn E-clip. And I buy them by the dozens because I go through a lot of them. Just kind of the way it is. I've got that all jacked up. How's it doing that? Okay. It wants to mess with me today. Here we go. Now, when you tighten this down, you don't have to make it super tight. If you take one of the points on the hex and point it towards that hole, then this will line up perfectly. That's the retainer it keeps the nut from backing out while you're fishing. You know, the earlier ambassadors didn't have that. I guess they had a lot of lost handles back in the early days. Handle nuts falling off, handles coming loose, that kind of thing. So there's that. Let's build the spool. Over here on the drive side, you get shim, goes down in there, then a bearing. These are the new bearings, okay? And then the drive plate, which also has centrifugal weights on it. And then you got your clip. The opening of the clip will go either this side or that side. You want it away from the opening in the spool there. So you have a solid wire going by the drive, okay? That's that side. This side just gets a bearing, and then this cog, okay? And then you can slide the whole thing. Make sure the centrifugal weights are pushed in, and they go inside of that, okay? We can just set that to the side. Let's build this level line here. Level line fell apart on me. Okay, here we go. Now we can go ahead and snap that back down. I pop that up so I can clean up under it good. They always get a lot of gunk from the water on them. Your wire got a line guide. I don't know why I said wire. This is a left-hand reel, so this will come in from the other side. Second. All right, let's put all that down. Do it with one hand. Make sure your bearing stays in there. Why it decided to fall out on me. The line guide in there. Line it up with that groove. Bend your tube where these smaller ambassadors are hard for a guy with a big hands, to get lined up. There we go. Kind of leave that in there. We'll go ahead and put that in, and we'll put the retainer on it. Okay. All right, that's all nice and slick, isn't it? We're going to put a little dab of oil down in there. Oil on there, and some oil on that groove up there. You can go ahead and drop your pawl in place. Sometimes you have to use tweezers or a pair of needle nose to get them in there. Once you get it down in there, you can spin it and get it seated in. I do just a little dab of grease where that cap goes on. So just in case I did use this in salt water, which I won't be, this reel's just way too pretty. I use my nastiest reels for salt water because they're going to get, if they're not nasty before you start, they will be before you get done. I don't care how good you take care of it. There you go. A little bit of oil on that tube. Spread it around good. That's slick. Look at that. Oh yeah. All right. Now, this goes on, and we're going to oil it a little bit. Your bait clicker goes on like this, and then these two plastic spacers go on. Okay. Set that aside for a second. Next up is this gear, which now has a bearing on it. A little bit of oil on that post. Put that on there. Okay, and then you're going to put the snap ring on. A little bit of oil down in that bushing for the shaft, spool shaft, and that'll take care of that. Now here, a little dab of grease right there on that peg. This is a little bit tricky sometimes. You got to kind of pull this down and get the, hold on, I didn't do something. A little bit of grease in those screw holes, just in case I use it in salt water. Okay. Put this down in the off position. How I do it. Kind of get it lined up, and it will find its way home. And you just put the 3 screws in. And we're going to check it, make sure it works. If you don't get this lined up right, when you go to put it together, it'll be cocked sideways. You'll look at that switch, and it will be cocked sideways. You're going to be like, well, what in the world? Just why did it do that? And it's because it's hung up on the bait clicker, and it didn't settle in the right place. You got to hold that little peg or hold that little lever down on the bait clicker. The lever that contacts this part of the spool, and get the cover in place, and then you can release it. I'll show you how it works here in just a second. A lot of people get frustrated with them and just pull the whole mechanism out. I like having the bait clicker for certain types of fishing. This is a great catfish reel. But if you look at that, so we're in the off position now. When I push it to on, you see how it pushes that tab down? Okay, it's that simple. And I've oiled that pretty good. Next thing is a little bit of grease on those threads. Now, when you've got one of the ultra cast designs, has a thumb bar, You have to be careful that you line everything up right when you go together with it. That peg has got to go behind. Let's see if I can point it out to you here. You see this right here? That peg's got to go in that little bitty opening right back there. Okay. You hold up on the ultracast button where it's all the way in its out position. Put this in there. For some reason. There it goes. Just didn't have my cover lined up good. And I put these down by hand, these thumb screws, and I'll take my screwdriver and just give it 1/8 of a turn. That one didn't go down all the way. Okay. Spool's too tight. I'll slip the drag a little bit, get that lubricant stirred around in there. All right, that's working. Bait clicker's working. Let's see how good it spins. Of course, it's not going to spin great without any line on there to give it any inertia, but still too tight, I believe. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. Man, what a smooth reel. I like it. So there it is. There's a C4 turned into a C6. So if you didn't know by now, the C4 means 4 bearings. 4 means 4 bearings. This is a beautiful reel. I don't know where I got this reel. I didn't pay much for it, if I remember correctly. I didn't pay much at all. It's one of the prettiest C4s I have. There it is. What a nice reel. That was pretty quick. I did that reel really quick, actually. But I'll put these spare parts up. I'll have them for another reel someday if I ever need them. Somebody, when I'm dead and gone, will open up a drawer and say, "What are all these junk parts sitting here?" and just dump them in the trash. You know how it goes. All right, folks. Well, there it is. Really nice C4. This is John, Vintage Fisherman. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with another reel soon.